What's left of Club Penguin? No, that's not what I'm asking. That's the title of the series' first video. Made a little over a month after the shutdown of the original Club Penguin, Near Human Intelligence made a horror animation showing a world of complete anarchy and desperation that would later evolve into its own multi-season series, only for it to seemingly disappear, having gone dark for over 2 years now. And that's after a 3-year hiatus right before that. But what happened to the series? It was pretty popular, fans loved it, so what shut down the shutdown? Well, let's leave that at the end. For now, we'll be diving into the world of the Club Penguin Shutdown. Oh yeah, trigger warning for the following. Pictures of excessive violence, including some scenes out to blur out so YouTube isn't mad at me, cannibalism, lots of body horror, lots of people getting caught on fire, substance abuse, self-kicking of the bucket, and a dark portrayal of mental illness. There's also some sexual content in the series, but I'll be skipping over it because sexual stuff generally makes me uncomfortable, but warning for that too if you decide to check out the originals. Starting with the first episode of the series, What's Left of Club Penguin. We open up to a radically different Club Penguin than we're used to. The place looks ransacked and rioted with fires and overall dark atmosphere. We quickly find 2 gang members who are beating up a penguin for unknown reasons, and more importantly, our protagonist of the series, Lil Jeffy. They quickly take their leave, leaving the penguins behind as they search for food, escaping into the pizza parlor. Though according to the narrator, any sane penguin knows there's no more pizza left to be found in the pizza parlor. However, intriguingly, there's a light from within the parlor. Inside, it seems like somebody's cooking something in the oven, much to Jeffy's luck. But as they look, they seem to freeze.
Lil Jeffy seems to have stopped. But what for? Go on, Lil Jeffy. The pizza is waiting.
It seems like cannibalism has settled in already, which even the sight of revolts the meager bit of food they did have in them. However, upon hearing movement, they flee, but just barely too late as the cannibal hears the door close. They know someone was here, and they won't let them go to waste. Little Jeffy runs, however, thanks to leading the other penguin to die, the cannibal stops the chase in favor of this other far easier meal. Still fresh! And so, the episode ends. The episode was incredibly popular when it first released. You should make a sequel or a part 2. This video is amazing, was made very, very well. I need a series of this. This is awesome to imagine Club Penguin is now like this after the shutdown. And with such high demand, it was only natural for a second episode to be made just a month later called Episode 2, The Gang. We open up in the mine shack, insignia plastered all around showing this territory belongs to the Tuba gang. Little Jeffy arrives and runs in the mine shack, still on the run from the cannibal, and knowing the insignia, the cannibal doesn't follow. Inside, Jeffy takes a moment to rest when suddenly a voice comes from behind the rubble, asking if it's safe to escape and if the gang is gone. Upon seeing it's clear, the voice leaves his hiding place alongside the 2 others. As they try to leave though, whoops, the game just came back! Jeffy is startled, falling back to the minecart and being successfully whisked away from danger. Unfortunately, upon seeing their stash missing, the Tuba gang leader does not take kindly to it.
You know who I am? Do you know how dead I can make you right now? Where's the stuff?
I didn't touch anything.
The innocent survivors are unfortunately blamed for the missing minecart, and we get a scene that actually does a really good job of replicating the Club Penguin animation style. Upon seeing their friend bloodied for Little Jeff's actions, they're more than willing to rat the poor kid out. Not before we pan out to the unfortunate remains of a blue penguin tied to a tree as a warning for all others who think to mess with the Tuba gang. Episode 3 opens up with Jeffy still riding down the mine shaft, though still beyond hungry. Little Jeffy decides to eat from one of these strange mushroom bags. And now he's high! Okay, bad trip. We cut away from the avalanche to another group of survivors near the area where they've just broken through with their minecart. We get a little more of Jeffy tripping balls before he comes to with the other group of survivors. They're kind enough to get him some food and... Oh, this is one of those series, isn't it? We're not gonna see any good guys, are we? Before we cut away, we pan out to a black puffle who seems to not only understand what it's seeing, but is definitely planning on revenge. Back at the mines, the two beginning are about to trek through the mine shaft to teach little Jeffy what's what, unaware of the cave-in. However, by the time they realize it, it's too late. Only the leader escapes alive. Little Jeffy awakes to a sound. His high finally having worn off, he finally realizes what exactly he's been eating. Dead puffles. Fighting back the urge to vomit, knowing any food is valuable in a place like this, he simply flees without another word. However, the cannibal is off near the pizza parlor again, so he's forced to return. Before he can find somewhere else to flee though, one of the puffle eaters stir awake. However, because he's standing near the cave where he was found, they come over and quickly get distracted by the immense amount of bagged goods he has. Soon enough, the group begins trying to use the goods to break a deal, as stuff like this is hard to come by, and can get them basically anything they want on the island. To which they ask for not food, not protection, but clothes and the ladies. I see they have outgrown sexism. Oof. They have a bit of a spat, and eventually they agree to one girl, but they stand strong. They want clothes and multiple ladies. Unfortunately, the lady they bring was the one who saw everything, and they know exactly where the stuff came from. The men back out, and the snow fight begins. Little Jeffy runs off with the girl. Bad move! Jeffy wakes up tied to a chair. Turns out that Blue Penguin was the girl's brother and she wants revenge. She covers him in gasoline. Apparently his little accident at the mines has gained him a little reputation. In fact, the gangs fear him as we saw earlier. However, the girl doesn't know that the pizza parlor is the cannibal's home. She lights the gasoline as it slowly makes its way to the puddle she sent. However, the cannibal pushes her in, which incidentally pushes Jeffy's chair out of the way. And so, as the pizza parlor becomes no more, little Jeffy falls into sewers. The nightclub has become a girls' club where the two big gang leaders facing off against the Purple Republic. They're all laughing at him for losing his whole crew to one man. However, Chuba's just as fierce a fighter as he used to be, and he suffocates the leader, takes his men, and is determined to take revenge on little Jeffy. Episode 6 brings us back to Jeffy. He hits the ground hard and falls into the pool in a daze. Just as he seems to be a dead man, someone pulls him out. Member of the elite penguin force, an agency of spy penguins that once protected the island, now dwindled down to one. He seems nice, even getting Jeffy some non-murder food. Apparently he's decoding a message that should lead to a safe haven. However, he accidentally slips about something horrible that the EPF did, which devolves into a dangerous episode, in which he simply stares out the window at all the dead penguins drifting out to the vast rotting expanse of the ocean, which leads the agent to a spiraling mental state until
It's time I joined them.
the corpses flood in as the agent tries to drown in guilt. However, upon seeing his actions almost lead to Jeffy's death too, he saves him and snaps out of it temporarily, getting the two of them out of there. Thus, we end yet another episode. We finally get to see what's inside the mall. It's beyond wrecked, but it'll have to do. Though the agent suggests they split up to check and ensure that it's not already occupied. Jeffy finds himself separated into a dark room, and upon realizing he's not alone, he's shaking. Though he slips, dropping the code from the agent. The penguin is odd. The way it moves is floppy and wrong, but it seems helpful and friendly. Up on the roof, the agent is completing their scan, however they're quickly sneaked up on and hit. Good thing the agent is trained in combat though. Both are easily disposed of, and the agent runs to check on little Jeffy. It seems little Jeffy and their new friend has been captured by the same gang, and so the agent comes to the rescue and saves them. Now safe, they sit down, and Jeffy reveals they still have the code from before the agent almost drowned himself. The note simply reads, to find the surviving penguins, go sledding. Seems the ski hill is their next destination. Taking a small break from the episodes, we get a short Halloween special. Just like how the old Club Penguin servers would tick over to a seasonal map, the map has changed for everyone to the Halloween map. But it's glitchy. A bell keeps ringing in the mall, however, the map glitch stops when Jeffy throws the bell out the window. This lands in the sewers, causing the water cover generator to turn on, electrifying the corpses. As they sear, they sink down to the depths and form a newly living creature, made out of mushy penguins. Their bodies made soft from the months drowned and easily mushing together. We get to see the creature in action, as two innocent survivors come across one of the bodies, thinking them to be a living penguin survivor. Trying to bring them to the fire to warm him up, the creature wraps his arms around the victim like tendrils and pulls them below to add their body to the pile. Returning to where we left off, we instead follow the remaining gang member of that gang that tried to steal Jeffy and the stranger away.
Was that an agent? How did he say
Jeffy?
Word spreads pretty quickly around here, huh? Either way, we're back with the Tuba gang leader and his new Tuba Less gang. Turns out they think little Jeffy is a complete mastermind for wiping out 3 entire gangs, which, side note, I know he thinks Jeffy planned the avalanche and all, but he shouldn't know those other 2 had anything to do with little Jeffy, let alone they caused it, because the snow fight had no survivors, other than little Jeffy and the girl immediately captured Jeffy and tried to kill him, only to be killed by the cannibals, so, And before you say that he saw the minecart at the scene and put 2 and 2 together, he immediately afterwards says that he needs to get the minecart back from Jeffy, meaning he thinks Jeffy still has it. And it was apparently they're all dead if they don't get that minecart back. Suddenly, 3 more members of that other gang we just saw hurry in. I'll just call them the Clothes Gang from now on, so I don't have to keep calling them the other gang. Apparently they've been getting their supplies here from another gang that lived here, only to learn that they were taken out in the snow forts by little Jeffy.
We can't let somebody continue to get away with this.
You don't think I know that? We aren't done with little Jeffy when I get my hands on him.
Dead! They're all dead!
The Clothing Gang member returns and informs them of what happened. They think the agent that killed their friends was little Jeffy, and so they all partner up to take him down. Well, except for the Purple Republic, which are planning a mutiny seeing as the Tuba Gang killed their leader, so instead of killing Jeffy, they plan to join him. Waking up, the agent walks outside to try and get an idea where the ski hill will be, only to run into the massacre at the snow fort. He starts spiraling into another episode, almost calming himself only to see what he did to the Clothing Gang. He almost snowballs himself, but the sound of a tuba temporarily distracts him. The others awaken. Seems that a direct path to the ski hill won't be an option. He keeps hearing a tuba until finally the Tuba Gang leader arrives outside. They need to get out of there fast. Jeffy and the agent hide, but the stranger...
You're not little Jeffy.
On the outside, they hear only screaming. They think it's little Jeffy, and so most of them refuse. The few that do go in see nothing but blood. Everywhere. Screams again. The Clothing Gang leader is about to stand up to the Tuba leader, only to be cut off by corpses falling from the rooftop. However, it's only the Clothing Gang's men. The mutiny.
What?
Penguins, we will not risk another life. Let's take out this Lil Jeffy and all those who betrayed us.
Jeffy and friends are forced to retreat to the roof. There's no way out unless they can jump in the fountain in the building next to them. And so, they jump. Only 2 successfully land in the fountain, Lil Jeffy and 1 of the Purple Republic. The Purple Fledgling swears revenge on the Tuba leader. The agent is still alive, though with several broken bones, and they need to keep quiet. Though one of the other fallen soldiers have come to and are screaming. When the Purple Fledgling is forced to put him down, this sets the agent off again, and they're forced to put him down too. The Tuba Gang leader is fooled into thinking the voices are coming from the forest, where they find 2 people with the minecart. They've been throwing the stuff into the embers thinking it was kindling, and now they're really high. His rage cannot be contained. He burns and drowns the first before brutally bashing the other one. The Tuba Gang leader re-arrives at his fort in the girls' club, only to find that he's no longer the respected leader he once was. He has failed once again. Not even his lady accepts him anymore. He's all alone now.
Jeffy.
Back at the mall, things have cleared out, and the Purple Fledgling... Okay, the name Fledgling really isn't working out. Let's just call him... Fedge. Fedge is starting to realize that little Jeffy isn't really the talker you expect him to be, only speaking emojis. He asks for pizza, and so they return to the pizza parlor, and it's still scorched. Fedge tells the rumors about the cannibal that lived here, as we are interspersed with clips of Puffles emptying the dead body of one of the other purple guys and filling them up like a suit. Makes a bit more sense as to why the stranger acted so weird now. Suddenly, we've found Stranger! And a new color! Yay! They still have the note saying to go to Ski Hill. Fetch doesn't understand at first, but Lil Jeff insists there's pizza there, and so they agree to go there. Making their way down to the pool, which has luckily since been drained out, Lil Jeffy unintentionally frees a trapped orange Puffle, which fades us into our next episode. They find themselves into the pool section where the monster was. They all follow, trying to get to the dance club. Jeffy freezes when they remember the agent's first freakout. And then... They encounter the monster. He runs and soon enough they're at the location. Fetch decides to scout while the others mostly stay put. However, when Jeff is drawn to the upstairs arcade, they find 2 survivors. He tries unsuccessfully to turn the games on, and so he drags it by the plug, causing a lot of noise and waking up the survivors. They're terrified when they realize that it's little Jeffy. Plugging in all 4 machines causes enough noise that Fedge returns upstairs, right before the gang leaders arrive, and the power settles to a standstill. Before this episode ends out, we see the agent again. In the background is someone dragging a body bag, and the agent opens his eyes. We start episode 13 with Jeffy and his crew unsure what to do. As with the gang leaders down below, they're trapped with no exit. Though they do have little Jeffy, and so Jeffy hesitantly obeys, bumping the generator on his way out. Down below, the clothing gang's leader is giving a speech about little Jeffy. Some are still skeptical he even exists, and so he tells of what happened to the Tuba gang. Turns out the clothing gang leader wants to cut Jeffy a deal and try to get him to take out the big boys, who are the ones that the Tuba gang was going to give that cart of stuff to. Suddenly they notice Jeffy is here. He walks to the front of the crowd just as the generator starts picking back up, catching fire and forcing the others to linger on the steps. The gang leaders are laughing at Jeffy because he's shaking in fear, and the skeptic offers to take care of little Jeffy, but as he approaches, he dumps and then slips on it, causing it to go forward and for the skeptic to slip on it, causing him to fall on his own sword. Things are going from bad to worse upstairs as the magnetic energy throws targets around and fills the air with gas and electricity. Jeffy closes his eyes and holds his hands up, and just then...
How?
The gas explodes from above. As Jeffy and the others escape, the gas renders all survivors not as their skin crust spoils and makes them vomit blood. The Tuba gang leader arrives just in time to see the last survivor die and chase after where little Jeffy and his crew went. We return to the mall for a scene showing the agent is alive, but... permanently concussed. The cannibals found their way there, but the childlikeness of it reminds him of fond fatherly memories before the shutdown. And so, the cannibal decides to take him in. The 5 of them are running down through the pool. However, the 2 other survivors insist that they need to stay for their friend who went out scavenging. Upon hearing the Tuba gang leader above, though, they all come with trusting little Jeffy. However, little Jeffy and the stranger keep running further into the flooded mines. Fetch says they'll meet at the exit of the mine shaft and enters what was once the territory of the Tuba gang. Little Jeffy is trying his best to swim, but the Tuba gang leader's a lot better at swimming than you'd think. However, it's there that they meet the corpse monster. Tuba throws little Jeffy at the monster and flees, awakening it, where it takes the stranger. Little Jeffy is alive, which astounds the Tuba gang leader. However, the monster isn't done yet, emerging from the ice with a vehement hunger. Fedge says to meet at the ski hill, and Jeffy makes his way to the plaza. Remembering the agent, he feels compelled to go back to the mall, and the Tuba gang leader survives just without his tuba. Jeffy and the agent have a happy reunion, though he quickly goes and hides. The Tuba list leader enters in infuriated and begins beating up the agent. Jeffy tries to do that thing with his hands again, though of course it does nothing. Tuba throws a rock at him and begins to break down when he takes the blow. He couldn't have lost everything to an idiot. He keeps beating him, though little Jeffy finally decides to fight back. Tubalist won't be taking that though, as they pick up a pipe shouting about how he was the one protecting the island and that the big boys will make everyone pay. However, he doesn't notice the cannibal behind him seeing the brutality done to his new son.
I will enjoy this. Shut the fuck up! Who the fuck do you think you are? Fuck off!
And the cannibal drags him into the unknown, and Jeffy drags the agent with him. He also takes the left behind tuba as his own, and as the episode ends, we get one last shot revealing to us who those big boys we've been hearing so much about are. Captain Rockhopper, Antarctic, and Rookie. But now, we enter season 2, starting with episode 1, The Hunter. We open up at the hub, and 2 penguins, upon finding an old body, are ecstatic. And as here we see someone new, Big Jeffy, as he enters the coffee shop, which has apparently become something of a bar/mercenary shop. And someone wants to put a hit out on little Jeffy. Initially, Big Jeffy says that they'll wait and they'll see who's the highest bidder first before accepting the job, but they insist that they can get them Arsenal's Viking helmet. Arsenal being one of the first people to make an account on Club Penguin. Big Jeffy doesn't believe he can get it, but he just keeps insisting until finally he relents. relents. According to the narrator though, nobody's heard from Arsenal since the shutdown, and he's been presumed dead. Outside, little Jeffy arrives. Hungry, he enters the coffee shop unknowing of the deal that's just been made. However, nobody seems to realize who he is, as Big Jeffy leaves and the dealer boasts about how he just conned a hitman into a free kill, and how this will be the end of little Jeffy. And so when he leaves, Jeffy goes and beats him up, which shuts him up real quick. Though on the brighter side, it looks like our favorite stranger's back yet again. Less on the brighter side though, Rockhopper's ship has been lingering longer than usual. And just like that, Rockhopper arrives with his crew and throws the penguin off the island. Apparently they were a moderator too. Shame. We open up to two unknown penguins talking, confused as to why the tuba gang didn't deliver the stuff and why the moderator didn't return. Their conversation is spliced in between these scenes of the tuba list leader getting cut up by the cannibal. However, they feel they are safe up in the dojo. We see as the cannibal comes to bring the agent some food, only to realize they are gone. The voices kick someone out to go find the tuba gang, who seems less than enthused.
Ah, dang it.
In the snowy forest, we get to see what the other survivors are up to, with Fedge wondering if little Jeffy's made the ski hill yet, which he reassures that he likely has, as nothing gets in the way of little Jeffy. However, the other group nearby overheard them mention little Jeffy and are less than friendly about it. Things get tense quick, and soon enough, the two survivors are being chased in the woods. When one of them is shot, they reveal they were with him in the dance club and know where he is, and are willing to tell him if they let them both go. To which, much to his partner's dismay, he tells them. The man takes his leave, but Purple stops the lady, saying the deal was only for him, not her.
What?
Would that be a problem for you, sir?
I meant both of us. Let her go too, come on.
Ah, it does appear that we do indeed have a problem then. Lucky for you, I'm good at solving problems. Problem solved!
Guess we only have one survivor from the club group now, huh? Jeffy finds himself at the end of a gang war gone wrong. Upon hearing them, the one barely surviving member pleads for a truce, thinking it to be more of the other gang. Jeffy asks if they have pizza, to which they obviously don't. But as Jeffy leaves, he sputters out that he knows where to get some. Before that, he needs help. And so Jeffy throws the agent face first in the snow, first of all, how dare you, and uses the sled on the survivor, leaving everyone else behind in search of pizza. The agent gets up, is out of it mind searching for Jeffy, only to temporarily snap into a more clear yet less okay episode upon seeing all of the dead penguins. We shoot back to the dance club to find what's presumably the scavenger that the other survivor group didn't want to leave behind. Big Jeff wants info. Seeing as they're both missing penguins, last seen here, Big Jeff thinks they're both trying to find little Jeffy. Threatening them, they have an uneasy truce in hopes of finding little Jeffy. We shoot back to Rockhopper, who isn't taking his cravings well. Across the room is a tied up old leader the gang Rockhopper took over, who seems to have figured things out. He tells of little Jeffy, however refuses to give the name, only saying how they'll meet them soon enough, and so he decides to get it out of him. We're introduced to a fancy torture penguin who eventually injects hot sauce into the penguin's veins, which makes him melt, sag, and pop. He more than gladly gives the name Little Jeffy and tells them to remember what they've done and how much they deserve it before, with one last injection, he pops for good. Finally, they arrive at the ski hill, trying desperately to get into the lodge and get the pizza they rightfully deserve. Entering through the broken window up top, they find several horribly malformed experimental penguins. They beg him to escape while he has the chance. They run into a nearby tent where they're initially told to go back downstairs. They're ushered in by two other people who claim they've heard so much about him and ask if they can get anything, to which he of course asks for pizza. Bouncer is told to go downstairs and get some for their guest. The penguins thank Jeffy for all he's done in taking down all these gangs and ask for help in taking out the gang up the hill, which they begin to realize how little he responds. They become skeptical that he is the real Jeffy, however the Puffles come in clutch. The pose strikes again. However, going downstairs, there is no pizza. He's knocked out. We return to our cowardice moderator looking for the Tuba gang. They are quickly ambushed by a cult of Pookies, which if you don't know are penguins that act like babies to get adopted. The 2010s were a weird time, man. However, the mod is saved by a cannibal as soon as he mentions the Tuba gang, which he thinks stole his son. A little bit into the past, they walk their way through a room full of survivors, sick and cold. After they leave, though, they realize that it was little Jeffy and aren't going to let them take him, and so they all decide they're going to save little Jeffy. We meet back up with Big Jeff, who's infuriated that little Jeffy isn't here. Just at that moment, the cannibal and the moderator arrive. Big Jeff says the Tuba gang is up the hill, as when little Jeffy was dragged up, he was still wearing the Tuba gang's tuba. scuba. Just as the scavenger is about to be beaten up for this, another group arrives going up the hill for Little Jeffy, which piques Big Jeff's interest. Back to the present, Little Jeffy wakes up on top of the ski hill bound. Turns out they were originally going to give him to the Hill Gang in return for peace, but after what he did to the tent, they are now using him as a threat, threatening to release him if they aren't compliant with them. Suddenly, a bunch of people arrive. They're all fighting over who's getting Little Jeffy. We have the cannibal, the Purple Republic, the moderator, Big Jeff, a lot of people. But we also have folks ready to come save him, like his squad, and of course the sick lodge penguins rallying together to save him. The cannibal is very happy to have their son back, but before we know it, the fighting begins, and eventually Big Jeff slides off with Little Jeffy. The series' next Halloween episode has us see Gary from the EPF, who's been trying to get to Club Penguin Island alongside another penguin. Trying the extraction, they open up a chamber that seemed to have once had another penguin, now mutated and wrong. It runs and begins shouting, though Gary insists that he can be fixed. However, the experiment pushes the black penguin in, causing another mutation. Despite Gary's pleas that it can be fixed, machine, them, everything, the monster crushes his skull, leaving them like this forever. In case you were curious, these three monsters are actually the creatures we saw in the lodge last episode, with this being their origin story. After nearly a 3-year hiatus, the show returns with its last numbered episode. They aren't willing to let Jeffy go without a fight. One gang takes them, then the other arrives demanding they hand them over, but then from behind a ship sleds down the ice. The lady still has them though, and is able to slip ahead until Big Jeffy gets a hold of them again. Once Jeffy's stolen back by the ship crew, there's a battle on the ship. The stranger leaves their suit behind to fight them off as an army of puffles, and then Big Jeffy escapes again, and a large snowball is careening down the hill, causing an avalanche, and yeah, a bunch of stuff has happened. But eventually we shoot back to Captain Rockhawker being a degenerate, before he's told about Ski Hill, and the episode closes out, leaving us at the tail end of the series with one last episode. Only, it's a tad different from the rest. Titled, I tried to play Club Penguin after it shut down. Do not attempt this. The video opens up with some text background. Apparently the person's been trying to access the old Club Penguin servers after they were shut down, and thanks to the old server address being seen in an old PewDiePie video, he was able to actually access one of the old archived servers. In the game, it looks to be using the Halloween map, and strangely, it won't let them enter certain areas like the dance club. In fact, there's several areas that the author notes there shouldn't be barriers, but have them for some reason. Entering the pet store, they notice a strange particle effect here. Leaving, the caption suddenly read, "This is the part I regret most," before entering the pizza parlor. The screen is fine at first before glitching out and bringing us to the shutdown's version of the world. The pizza parlor is still burnt up to a crisp. Walking around aimlessly, there are some minor details like the loading area is going reverse until they enter an area where the corpse monster was, which begins suddenly awakening, poking holes into the ice. Reaching, the player runs away, but they follow him. During one of the loading screens, we see a picture of Arsenal before continuing. There are tendrils sticking up everywhere, and more follow, cornering him. They teleport to their igloo. Some code appears, but I can't read most of it due to the effects overlaid on it. But I can read the last one, which seems to say, returned in error code 1. I can't tell if that's blood due to the darkness, but there's clearly a palm tree to the left, and brightening the image you can see some grass on the right, so this might just be dirt. Suddenly the glitching stops and our snail appears. Dark at first before brightening. Penguin avatar begins shaking uncontrollably, and we can see our snail has no pupils. Walking into him, the screen glitches, though if we slow down the footage, you can see blood spew from the player character, before the screen suddenly shifts to an undefined. The author ends saying that they've tried logging back in, but it hasn't worked since, though they're clearly scared by it, saying that's not worth the risk and that they have a headache. Bringing us to the end of this series. But for a series so beloved, as cheesy as it was sometimes, what happened to it? That's a question many fans have asked, as there's been no update on YouTube. However, upon searching, this is what I've been able to find.
So, just curious, whatever happened to your Club Penguin Shutdown series?
Thanks for asking. I just stopped making it back in 2018 to focus on some other career opportunities, and just haven't had the chance to ever get back into it, sadly.
Are you ever going to continue?
I'd love to, but unfortunately I haven't been able to work on this much since 2018. If I ever find a place in life where I have a ton of free time, I'd love to make more.
Pain. Not gonna lie, me and my friends have been checking back in on this channel every few months to see if it's been continued. I hope one day this can get a thrilling conclusion.
I hope so too. I had so much fun creating the series, and I had so much planned for it. I hope I get the chance to wrap it up nicely sometime soon. And that's all, I'm afraid. Until next time.